Hello and welcome to another edition of my presidential video series. This month's theme focuses on artificial intelligence and the ethical challenges that AI presents. I'm delighted to have a special guest to discuss this topic with. My guest is Sherry Chan. Sherry is a superstar actuary in her own right with a very successful career and currently serves as an SOA board member. Previously, she served as an Academy board member and most importantly, has been a longtime active volunteer with CCA. Relevant to our topic at hand, she is Chief Strategy Officer for Antidote, where AI is an integral part of their business. A proper introduction would violate all reasonable time constraints. So let me just say that there could be no one more perfect to be my first special guest to discuss ethics and AI. What follows is our discussion. I hope you enjoy it. Hey, Sherry.
Hey David, how are you?
I am good. I am so happy to be with you here today. I could not find a more perfect person to be on as my first guest for my CCA presidential video. So welcome to that.
Thank you.
Um,
I even got dressed up for you.
I see. I love the CCA shirt with the new
Yeah.
logo that we introduced a couple of years ago. So I love that. So the timing is perfect for this too, because we have upcoming our Enrolled Actuaries Conference. And in that conference, there'll be two general sessions that relate to what we're going to talk about today. So one of them is on AI, and you're one of the panelists for that AI general session. And then we also have an ethics general session, which you're also going to be a panelist on. So I could not find a better person to talk about the confluence of both ethics and AI, which is the theme and the topic for my presidential written blog as well this month. So please check that out after you watch this video. So welcome to discuss some things related to AI and ethics.
Thanks for having me.
So let's just start with some general thoughts or about, firstly, why would ethics and AI, what do they have to do with each other? AI is just computer systems, right? You type in 5 + 3, it says 8. If it says 7, it's probably unethical. So I know that's kind of a simplistic view of this, and I know many of us are familiar already with AI and a lot of the potential issues, but if you could talk a little bit about what concerns we have with ethics and AI.
Yeah. First, AI obviously is on the forefront of being developed. It's very, very new. And if you fast forward the world and think back to when AI started, we're still very much in the infancy stage. And I think because of that, everything is happening so quickly that, there is a lot of guardrails that we need to kind of put in place and think about how potentially it could be unethical for usage of AI or even the output of AI, right? And you can have, as someone who's coding it and writing it, the ones behind the scenes coming up with the language, right? That, every step of the way, it could be with the best intention. You might not input any data that is unethical, but you might have outputs coming out of the model that is unethical because, data could be used, even though you're not capturing specific parts of data, it could be a proxy for something else. And, AI models sometimes hallucinate too and create data that wasn't intended to be created, and it outputs that. So that process in and of itself could introduce unethical behavior or results, so to speak. But then there's also the user part of it, right? So once results come out of the AI model, it could be, good data, and then the user could use that data that comes out of it in unethical behavior, or not do some checks on it and then use it, and that itself can be unethical. So for example, you had said a simple math problem, right, that should yield a very specific number. But if you have ever tried inputting or asking ChatGPT, for example, a more complex mathematical question, right, and putting a mathematical formula in there, it doesn't necessarily give you the right answer. And if someone who wants to know, the square root of some number with 5 decimal places or something like that, and just takes whatever comes out of the model and doesn't check it, that could cause some unethical results too.
Yeah, in that case, it's not the AI that's unethical per se, or it's not trying to be unethical. It's just simply a lack of mathematical skills, apparently, that's or hasn't yet figured out complex math, and then you're not checking it as your unethical part. But you also have where we've had that famous case where an attorney used AI to help him develop a brief for a court, and it created fictitious case law.
Right.
And that's in some ways that's an ethical lapse, you could say, on the AI itself for making stuff up, where you're not saying this is fiction, is it would be unethical, especially if it's going to be used in the court of law. And then that person's issue was that either, and I don't know the details of that case, either he just didn't check it and assumed it was correct and submitted it, or, and this probably wasn't the case, but someone could do this where they would say, I don't care, I'm kind of conspiring with the AI. It gave me some unethical things. It looks really good. I'm going to use this.
Right.
But pulling it back to us as actuaries, and that's obviously a legal case, but we ourselves have, like you said, mathematical things where we create models that could have bias implicit within the way that you develop the bias. So I think there's so many examples of where you have this mix of the user and the AI itself, and you kind of have to tease out where the issues lie, and coming up with guidelines or solutions to how to mitigate AI. It seems like it's really challenging to figure. You have to figure out where the problem's coming from, where are all the possible problems from an AI, a system that we don't really quite understand the inner workings of. Or at least I don't. And so it's really hard we're used to dealing with ethics on a human level, not necessarily what a computer. We don't think of a computer as unethical, so it's hard.
I think that goes back to there's so much discussion about is AI going to replace actuaries, right? And I think there really still needs to be a need for actuaries because AI is trained on data, right? That input, a lot of the data that goes into it is what it's trained on. And so far, it's proven in some cases that it doesn't have enough data to give correct answers. And so I think as actuaries, we need to remain, even if we use it in whatever capacity, we need to remain the ones who review the work. Much like, if we're doing our work ourselves, we either check it, peer review it, or check the work that our analysts do for us. And so I think it still calls for that, especially in the day and age right now where AI is still new and being trained on various models.
Yeah, I think the extra challenge is that we're familiar when we're reviewing another actuary's work, what to look for. And here there might be new aspects and components of things that you wouldn't expect it to look for. So I think we have to develop a whole list of things to be on the lookout for, or ways of preventing the unethical results coming through.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This was great. I really enjoyed this. Thank you again for being my first guest on my presidential video series.
It's an honor to be asked. Thank you, David.
And I'm looking forward to seeing you at the Enrolled Actuaries Conference.
Likewise. See you then. Bye.